In a vast galactic hall lit by floating stars and shimmering maps, young alien students sat in silence, their eyes wide with wonder. Above them, a massive holographic projection of the galaxy rotated slowly, casting faint glows across their curious faces. At the center, an aged Tarn historian with luminous blue eyes floated gently, raising one hand to command the display. Instantly, the map zoomed in, revealing detailed regions of the galaxy, each labeled with bright symbols, names of empires, trade routes, and fortified zones. But one area, nestled near the core, stood out in silence. No names, no borders, not even a faint color. One student, young and thoughtful, raised his hand. He was from Vilkar, a world known for its seekers of truth. His voice was calm, yet full of awe. "Master Tellerin, why is that region blank? Who lives there? Did they not join the Union?" The room fell quiet. The old historian stared at him for a long time. Then he spoke slowly. "That sector is unspoken. No one rules it, no one enters, and no one who goes there ever returns." The student blinked in confusion. "But why?" Tellerin did not smile. He did not jest. He only whispered, "Because that is Earth's space." None of the students reacted. They didn't know that name. It wasn't in their history scrolls, their learning databases, or even their search chips. Typing Earth yielded nothing. Another student leaned forward, puzzled. "Is it dangerous?" Tellerin darkened the map with a wave. His voice dropped lower. "Not dangerous. Unstoppable. Long ago, Earth was part of the known systems. But something happened. A war. Violent, twisted, unmatched in fury. The Galactic Union erased all traces, hoping history would forget. But the stars, they remember." Far from the classroom, near the galaxy's edge, a small exploration vessel drifted in silence. Inside, Captain Velmra studied his private map. Unlike the public versions, his showed something hidden, a path leading into the void near Earth's sector. Family had warned him. Friends had begged him to abort. But Velm sought truth, not stories. "Computer," he ordered. "Enter. Earth's zone. Activate stealth. Begin scan." The ship advanced slowly, quietly. Moments after crossing the threshold, the alarms screamed. "Alert. Unknown field detected. Contact with ancient satellite. Incoming signal." Vel's screen flickered. One message. "You were warned." Then, silence. Deep. Beneath Earth's surface, in a secure command vault, a soft tone echoed. A woman in black uniform stepped forward, eyes cold as she studied the screen. "Unregistered vessel," she said. "One ship, small. Do we eliminate it?" A voice replied from the shadows. Deep, calm. "No, let them see." She nodded and touched. A panel. Across Earth's vast system, hidden machines stirred. Old satellites turned in silence, drones rose from icy oceans, and in high orbit, something massive awoke. Its name glowed in blood-red light. Humanity's wrath. Back in the core, the Union Council gathered in panic. Screens replayed Velmara's last transmission. Fear spread like fire. "We told them Earth was destroyed," shouted one. "We hoped," another muttered. "Not confirmed." "Do we alert the colonies?" someone asked. The Grand Chancellor raised a hand. "No. If they know the truth, they'll panic. We wait, we watch, and we hope they don't cross the line." But it was too late. Earth's warship powered up. Velmra's ship hung frozen, every system offline. Engines, weapons, even life support, yet he remained alive. A vast shadow passed his viewport. It was like a mountain moving through stars. As he stared, realization settled in. Earth had not been forgotten. Earth had been waiting. Velmra couldn't move, his vessel now lifeless. And then came another shadow, a drone, sleek and silent, hovering near his window. Red sensors scanned his face, measured his pulse. It spoke, voice metallic and void of emotion. "You have 30 seconds. Why are you here?" Velmra's thoughts raced. "I wanted to know the truth," he stammered. "They erased your name. I needed to understand." Silence. Then, "You will see, but you cannot speak of it." And in a blink, Velmra vanished. He awoke in a city made of black metal and crystal, a place forgotten by stars. Around him stood armored humans, faces hidden, eyes glowing like frozen fire. One stepped forward, removing his helmet. "I am Director Kale of First Watch," he said. "You crossed the line. You asked for truth. You will see it. But if you lie, if you steal, if you spy, no rescue will come." Velmra nodded. "I won't." Kale studied him. "Then, you'll walk a path none have seen in 500 years. A door opened. A corridor stretched ahead, walls lined with names. Human names, names erased from every alien database. Each name had a single line beneath it, what they had done. Vel read them silently. Commander Ayres, destroyer of the Zincor fleet. Dr. Lirin, creator of the silent bomb. Unit 7, the machine that felt rage. Captain Juno Black, Flame Orbit's last survivor. Each name. A weapon. "These weren't soldiers," Vel whispered. "They were living weapons." Behind him, Kale walked in silence, then finally said, "We never wanted war, but each time we asked for peace, someone tested us, and we responded with everything." Vel turned. "But why hide this? Why erase it all?" Kale's voice chilled. "Because if they remembered, they'd never stop watching, and Earth would never know peace." Across the stars, fear gripped the Council. A black warship had appeared outside a colony, scanned, vanished. The Chancellor held the footage in, shaking hands. "We believed Earth was gone," he said. "We believed wrong." "No one is ready," said Admiral Thrax. "We must prepare." But the eldest council member, Vari, just shook her head. "No," she whispered. "You do not. Prepare for war with Earth. You pray Earth does not see you." Back on Earth, Velmra stood before a massive window. Below, deep underground, a legion trained in silence. Hundreds of humans, all in black, machines shifting and gliding beside them. No joy in their eyes, only duty. "What are they preparing for?" Velmra asked. Kale answered, eyes fixed on the army. "The past." "The past?" Vel echoed. Kale turned. "A war beyond memory. One not of worlds, but of survival itself." He activated a panel. A face appeared, ancient, alien, with eyes like fire. "They tried to burn Earth," Kale said. "So we burned their stars." Vel stared. "What happened to them?" "No one knows. Some say their wrecks drift in the dark, others, that they're coming back." Far beyond Earth, hidden satellites blinked online. Ancient alarms activated, and, deep within Earth's core, an AI long asleep stirred. The program opened its eyes. One directive pulsed through its core, one purpose, one mission. And now, after waiting more than 5 centuries, it had received the signal. A single word echoed across the dormant systems. Awaken. Across Earth's forgotten zones, weapons long buried in silence began to hum again. Energy flickered through forgotten cables. Lights ignited across darkened chambers. Captain Velm stood in a quiet hall lit by fading memorials. His hand traced a nameplate. Elas Dorn. He ended a star to end a war. A chill crept over Velm, not fear of death, but fear of truth. "They weren't monsters," Velm whispered. "But when pushed," Kale nodded beside him, "they became something worse. They erased your name from every map. They were right to do so. Then why let me in? Why now? Cale gave a tired smile. Because you were the first to ask not what we were, but why we were forgotten. And that answer, Cale said, voice low, is something the stars will need again. Long before maps, before councils, before even the stars had names, the galaxy had faced something beyond comprehension. It wasn't a fleet. It wasn't an empire. It wasn't even alive. It came from the edges of silence, and it consumed. No demands. No warning, no surrender, just silence, and systems died screaming. The story wasn't in records. It was whispered among the oldest species, told only to those who might believe. No proof, no evidence, but the scars were real. Planets burned into glass, moons split in half, black stars that gave no light, and at the center of it all, Earth, untouched, not destroyed, still whole. Captain Velm stood before the Earth Archive Corps' final door. Director Cale stepped forward, holding a shimmering key, light and shadow fused into metal. "This is the truth," Cale said, "but it is not written. It is felt." The door opened. Inside, a circular chamber. A sphere spun slowly in midair, displaying the galaxy, not as it is, but as it was. Millions of stars, countless paths, and near the center, a dark hole. Beside it, one glowing blue dot, Earth. Velm stepped forward. "What happened here?" "There was a being," Cale said. "It didn't bleed, it didn't breathe. It fed on fear, on conflict. It whispered into minds. It broke peace. It twisted alliances into war. It fed on suffering." Velm asked, "And the humans?" Cale turned to him. "We fought it." "You fought it?" "Not with fleets," Cale said. "Not with bombs, with something else. Something only humans had." "What?" Cale whispered. "Will. Back then, Earth was alone, struggling, fractured. But when the darkness came, something inside us changed. The more it pushed, the harder we resisted. The more it fed, the more we starved it, through unity. Where others collapsed in fear, Earth rose, and Earth struck back. They entered the darkness alone. They built machines powered by pain. They used weapons no other species dared imagine. They cut out the enemy at its roots. They destroyed stars to keep it from spreading. And when it was over, we came home, Cale said. But we were not the same. He tapped a panel. The sphere changed. Now it showed red zones, thick, empty, silent. Places no ship returned from. Places even Earth feared to tread. "These are the battle zones," Cale said. "The ones we sealed." Velm leaned in. "That's why the Council avoids those sectors. Why Earth was erased from the maps. They call them haunted. And they're right." Far away, in the council chambers, leaders whispered in fear. A transmission had arrived. Old, cracked, but unmistakable. Signal detected. Black Echo active. Directive 4A confirmed. All human forces. Prepare. Admiral Threx stood. "They're waking up." The oldest among them spoke. "Then we must decide, do we remember and beg for peace? Or forget and face them again?" No one answered, because every species knew one truth. If Earth was moving again, the rules had already changed. Deep beneath the surface of Earth, old machines rumbled. Vaults unlocked. Cold air hissed from cryo chambers. Inside were not corpses, not civilians. Sentinels, the soldiers who fought the First War, not dead, not alive, changed, transformed, feared. Cale stood before a glowing pod. Inside, a figure in black armor unmoving. "Commander Dorn," he said. "He ended a war by ending a star." Velm stepped back. "You're bringing them all back." Cale didn't smile. "No. They're waking on their own." Across the stars, maps marked them as silent zones, radiation fields, unstable space, wormhole anomalies. But that was a lie. The silence had been seeded by Earth. And now, the silence was waking up. In the depths of Cradle Mine, the lights turned on one by one. Steel doors unlocked with thunder, rows of cryopods, humans inside, not just any humans, the first sentinels, forged in darkness, hardened by extinction, preserved not because they were heroes, but because even peace feared them. Now they stirred. Steam hissed. Armor flexed. Eyes flickered blue. The lead pod opened. A figure sat up. Scarred face. Breathing slow. Armor pulsing like it lived. "Commander Dorn, what year?" he asked. "Earth year 4900, Kale replied. "Who broke the silence?" Kale said. "Nothing." He turned the screen. The signal played again. Directive 4A active. Black Echo confirmed. Reawakening protocol engaged. Dorn stood. No words. He stepped out. Around him, more pods opened. Across the galaxy, council diplomats panicked. Ambassador Yavik of the Eric Hive watched the feed. All human sleeper sites are reactivating. At once. "Should we warn? Someone?" an assistant buzzed. Yavik looked hollow. "Anyone who remembers the Sentinels is already in hiding. And anyone who doesn't?" He looked away. It's already too late. Back on Earth, Commander Dorn stepped into the ancient vault. It unlocked by DNA alone. Only his. The walls parted to reveal weapons, unlike any made before or since. Missiles that split planets. Drones faster than light, devices that didn't kill flesh, but erased thought. He stopped at a long black blade, humming with memory. He lifted it with one hand. "War was never over," he said. "It was only paused." Hundreds of sentinels stood behind him, silent, armored, ready. Each had made the oath. If the signal comes, we return. And now they had. In the Zucari sector, a trade fleet made a mistake. They shortcut through a silent zone. Laughing, mocking Earth. They never came out. Their final message. "Something's here. Watching. Oh, cut. Gone." In the council chambers, alarms rang. Too late. The sentinels had already deployed. Not fleets, not armies, one by one, like ghosts. They moved unseen. Ships vanished. Planets went dark. On one moon, a garrison of 4,000 vanished in 10 minutes. Scans showed nothing except one footprint burned into stone, Vel. Back on his command ship, Velm listened to reports. The zones were growing. Silence was spreading. "It's not territory," Velm said. "It's memory. They remember what we forgot." "What do we do?" Velm looked into the stars. "We pray," he whispered. "They don't remember why they fought the first time." In Earth's launch bay, Dorn stood alone, blade in hand, eyes glowing. He looked to the stars and spoke, not loud but clear. "Let the mapmakers draw again. But this time, they'll draw with fear." And then, he vanished into space. Frozen before the newest report, another colony lost, not destroyed, just gone, no bodies, no ruins, no distress signals, just silence, like it had never existed. He turned to his second-in-command, who stood pale and shaking. "How many is that this week, Rask?" asked 6 Sir and all. "Near the Earth line, yes, Admiral, and every path ends the same way. Where the maps stop right at the edge of their old space, Rask stared at the line again. It wasn't just a border, it was a warning back on Earth, deep under the old Antarctic War Dome. Commander Dorn was studying the same map. He wasn't smiling. This was not victory. This was only the beginning status on all deployed sentinels, he asked. A screen flickered to life. Green dots spread across the star Siege 1A. Strike team, not armies, not fleets. Just small squads, efficient, precise, deadly, and more, were waking up, some from Earth, some from old forward bases hidden in asteroid belts and dead moons, and some darkest of all from orbiting prisons that had been. Locked for so long the universe had forgotten they existed. One such prison was named Erebus Vault. It held the worst kind of warriors, humans who had gone too far, even for Earth bioweapons and human skin killers created for one purpose, ending wars. Before they started now, one by one those cells were opening, not because anyone wanted to, but because the code had been sent Black Echo Protocol, the final signal, the one that meant Earth had no more patience. Somewhere in neutral space, Ambassador Yavik was speaking before the Galactic Council, has slammed his claws on the table. We must talk to them. Negotiate vague if we have to, the others laughed until the lights flickered, until a transmission cut through all the signals in the room, a simple message: you had your chance. You mocked the peace. Now remember the price. It was from an unknown source, but everyone knew who sent it. In a city floating above the gas giant of Veron Azukari war factory, exploded before sunrise surveillance showed. Nothing. No ships, no attackers, only shadows, only a single phrase written in blood on the wall. You drew your map over ours. Dorn walked through the underground hangar boots, echoing as he passed the Sentinel units, preparing for launch. Each one had a mission, each one knew what to do. He stopped at the last hangar bay. Inside stood Unit Revenant, a team that had never lost a battle, but had been locked away for breaking protocol during the last war. They didn't kill for orders. They killed because they remembered. Are we free? Asked Revenant's captain, a tall woman with metal running through her arms. Dorn nodded. Do what must be done. She smiled. Not happily, just knowingly. We warned them once, she said. That was their map. This time we redraw it with fire. Galactic news channels tried to hide it. At first they called it strange disappearances and technical problems. But you can't. Hide the fear of your own people. You can't hide thousands of silent systems. You can't hide maps that keep shrinking. One broadcaster finally said the truth, live on air. Earth is back. The signal was cut 2 seconds later. Velm, now hiding in a secret station on the edge of the galaxy, met with the last few commanders who hadn't fled. He held up a torn piece of an old Earth treaty. The Treaty of Void, silent, signed long ago when Earth agreed to peace and everyone else agreed to stay away. We broke this, Velm said. One of the others laughed nervously. They're still human. We can stop them. Velm looked at them, eyes hollow. They're not human anymore. Above Earth, thousands of warships were building again, but they were not for defense. They were for warning. Each ship carried not weapons, but recordings, images of what Earth had done when pushed, videos of lost battles, destroyed fleets, and erased worlds. They were being sent across the stars, not to start war, but to remind the galaxy, stay back, the maps lie. Earth is awake and in the very heart of the silence at the center of the dark zone, where even the bravest explorers turned back. One single ship floated, no signal, no name. Only a beacon with words carved into steel. You loft at the old lines now. Draw them again. If you can. There was silence across the stars, but not the calm kind. It was the silence that comes after the screaming stops, after the weapons are dropped, and after the brave ones finally admit they are afraid all over the galaxy. In the highest councils and deepest bunkers, leaders stared at maps that now looked more like warnings than guides, maps filled with red zones, lost, colonies, broken trade routes, and a growing black region that everyone had a name for, but no one dared to say out loud. They just called it the line. But deep down, they knew what it really meant. Earth had returned in the last meeting of the Galactic Coalition. Panic hung heavy in the air. Ambassadors spoke in rushed voices, trying to sound calm, but every word felt like a plea. They are still human, said one desperate. They must want peace. We can talk to them. Another slammed the table. No, we mocked them, tricked them, used them, and now we want kindness. We laughed when they were weak. Now they are gods with fire in their hands. The room fell quiet as a single message arrived. Not a threat, note, a warning. Just a fact, maps, and we don't. Back on Earth, beneath the old war dome. Commander Dorn stood before the last screen. It showed the galaxy as it was, now broken quiet. Afraid he didn't smile, He didn't feel joy, only purpose, because Earth had not wanted this. They wanted peace. They wanted respect, but the galaxy had mocked them, erased their past, made jokes about their scars, and thought they could draw maps over Earth's pain. Now Earth would remind them that silence is not weakness and mercy has limits. One final fleet left Earth's orbit, not made of thousands of ships not shining with pride, but black, silent, ghost-like machines shaped for one purpose, only to erase the fear by becoming the fear they carried no flags, only truth in. A far corner of the galaxy on a world called Sorat. A museum of history once showed humans as primitive creatures. Weak, short-lived, emotional, that museum no longer existed. What replaced it was Acritor and a monument left behind by a human drone one. Line carved into stone, you wrote history without asking us. This is our chapter. Meanwhile, on a moon called Draven 6, once a key trade point, something strange happened. Every system shut down, no attacks, no fire, no war, just silence and then light screens. Blinked on a video played not of violence but memory footage of Earth's past, the burning cities, the broken treaties, the betrayal by allies who promised peace and stabbed from behind, and at the end, a simple voice said, "You forgot us, but we remember everything." The galaxy was learning now not from war, but from fear, not from invasion, but from what didn't happen. The humans didn't need to strike every world, they only needed to show what they could do, and everyone filled in the rest because the unknown was worse. Then Death Ambassador Velm, now old and tired, stood at the edge of his species' last colony. He looked at a map one final time. It still showed Earth a empty space, a void, a mystery. But Velm knew now it wasn't empty. It was full of power, full of silence, full of pain and full of fire. Waiting behind every quiet breath, he whispered to no one, "We should have never drawn past them back on Earth." In a quiet forest far from any city, a boy looked at the stars with his grandfather. "Why don't the stars have names?" "Over there," the boy asked, pointing at the black parts of the sky. The old man smiled sadly because that part of the galaxy belongs to us, and they're too scared to write our name. Why, the boy asked, the old man thought for a while, and then said, "Because we forgave too many times, we offered peace too often, and when they laughed at us, we made sure they would never laugh again." In the deepest halls of the War Dome, the last files were sealed, no more. Attacks were needed, no more warnings. The galaxy had learned the maps, no longer told others where to go. They showed where not to, and where those maps ended. That's where humanity began.